So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this exciting launch of the International 11's tournament that we're hosting here in September. So what is 11's and how did it come about? As you know, rugby 15's has now become a big man sport. If you watched Six Nations last weekend, we saw the first 1 ton pack. You take the top league in France, there's a club called Toulouse. The pack was more than a ton, and the forwards averaged 6'4". That's the average. You can imagine the size. So we realized in Southeast Asia, we're not built for that to compete with these guys. So I was talking to Robbie Deans, the All Black, who was later the Wallaby coach and is now coaching the Panasonic Wild Knights. And he's come up with a fantastic concept of rugby, which gives the Asian rugby players an even chance. So we tried it in Japan, went across, he got the Panasonic Wild Knights to play each other, and they loved it. High scoring. With 11's, you do away with the 2 breakaways, do away with the 2 wingers. You got so much more space and gives the smaller built Asian rugby players a big chance. We then took the game to Thailand, where Pat has been running the 10's program at Phuket for over 20 years. And we asked him to have a look at this. He ran last year's tournament in this format and they loved it. And what was interesting was the Asian teams beat the expatriate teams in the final. That gave us the chance to expand this game. So since then, we've run a Chiang Mai 11's, we've run a league competition there, and we've got competitions in Kuala Lumpur, Vietnam, but we're more excited about coming here to Sri Lanka. Why? Sri Lanka has got amazing rugby numbers at school level. What are our numbers? We've got 60 schools in A, B, and C division. We've got at the 12, 13, and 14, there's 600 teams play. But what happens is it funnels down to 8 clubs A division, 8 clubs B division. So we're hoping that this concept, some of the schools who spend a lot of money putting their teams together can keep playing it after school in this format. It's a lot easier to assemble 11 players than to get 15. I'll stop at that and ask John O'Brien to tell you a bit more about the rules of the game, and then Pat will tell you about our future of 11's rugby. Thank you.
Look, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you and introduce the game that I think is going to be revolutionary in the development of rugby, both in Southeast Asia and I think eventually across the world. As Dilip was saying, the game has become a game of absolute power. If you watch the final of the Rugby World Cup, you would have seen that South Africa, of their reserves, only had 1 back and all the rest of them were forwards. And they rolled effectively a new pack on just after the half time. And they're all huge men, right? And what used to be the joy of rugby, which was running, passing and kicking, right, has been taken over by collision. And that's not what I like. I want to see the ball pass and players run and score tries. Current game, from my watching, does not have enough game playing. There's too many stoppages. So look, the idea Robbie came up with is let's build a game that's basically the same as what we play, but make it faster, easier to play, and simpler. So there are changes. There are 11 players, and so who do you get rid of? A couple of forwards, a couple of backs. So scrums are still 6 players, and effectively the number 8 at the back is allowed to pick the ball up. So unlike 7's and 10's, the number 8 is allowed to pick up the ball and give options to the back line to actually go through and play. Now, the forwards have had a few things taken away. Rolling balls within the try line, are basically, they're outlawed, right? And because, if you watch it even at international level, rolling balls are almost impossible to stop legally. And that's not what we want. We want to basically have tries scored. And the whole game is all about getting tries and other things happening that give space and time to players to attack, to read the play and go through and have an exciting time. Run, pass, catch, tackle. That's what we want in the game. Now, the laws that have been simplified to make things quicker, no scrum resets, and the scrum must be set within 30 seconds of a scrum being called. Right. Line outs, same thing. the line-out must be formed and the ball thrown in within 30 seconds. So we're talking about keeping the game moving. There's a few changes to the tackle area to try and maximise the amount of ball that comes out, to keep the ball moving and to keep the game flowing. And that's what we want, is a game that flows. So at tournament level, we're targeting 11-minute halves so that we can get a lot of games completed in a day. But with league, when you're playing a league, which might be weekend to weekend, that's basically we play 4-minute quarters. And that gives everyone sufficient time to be fully fatigued. And that's something else that we hope will happen and be in the game. Anyway, look, that's a bit of a potted history of what's going on. And I think Dilip gave you a bit of a feeling for what we're looking to do in the game. And I think I'll hand over to Pat now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I must say it's a pleasure to be in such esteemed company this evening. Since I arrived in Sri Lanka a few days ago, I have been really impressed with the knowledge and the setup and the facilities that you guys have produced over the years for the game of rugby. What I'm so excited about is bringing this new version of the game, thanks to Mr. Kumar and Mr. O'Brien and their vision of how rugby needs to be revitalised, because the game at the grassroots level has lost, due to all the professionalism, it's lost a lot of the fun and the excitement that we all got involved in the game in the beginning. And what I've noticed, we did the Phuket 11's last year in June. We had 38 teams from around the world, many of them from Asia. And after the tournament, we discussed with the players and the referees what they thought of the 11's concept. And to a man and a woman, they were so enthusiastic about it, especially the forwards, because it actually brings them back into the game. With sevens, forwards, they don't really have a place in the game. It's more flat, backs and things like that running around. Same with 10s. But when you've got 11s and you can start devising back row moves and things like that, it gets the big boys excited again, And everybody loved it. And from Phuket, we then moved on to Chiang Mai, and we trialled a 5-team league that went on for 10 weeks. To keep the fun aspect, we had all the games played at the same venue. So all the teams came together, families, children, and we made it a fun day out. And this is one of the concepts of 11's, is to re-engage with the community and make sure that we bring the fun back into the game. I don't remember the exact numbers, but we had 70 tries scored with 53 different try scorers, that everybody's involved. Everybody has an opportunity to get involved and to score and to be a hero on the day. That went on fantastic. We've revitalised rugby in Chiang Mai. The Thai community now, from basically being zero engaged, and now daily putting out social media posts and having more game time and looking forward to the next season. We then, at the end of the season, we did the Chiang Mai 11's tournament, which again, many of the teams that played in Phuket attended, and there's definitely a buzz around the sport now in Thailand. This year we're doing the Phuket 11's again. We're going to do the Da Nang 11's in Vietnam in August. We're going to do Chiang Mai again. We're going to do a league in Chiang Mai. We're going to develop a league which we hope will become semi-professional in Bangkok over the next couple of years. And the culmination of all this will be Colombo, the Colombo 11's in September, okay? And then at the end of the year, the big plan is to have a national tournament where we have national sides from Thailand, from Malaysia, from Vietnam, India, Sri Lanka, and hopefully we're going to have a team from the USA to round it off. And we'll be not just doing men's open, we'll be doing women's open, and also we're going to be doing veterans rugby, because we can't forget the old boys that still like to have a run around. And one of the big things that we're going to develop is youth rugby. So what we need to do first is get the concept accepted, and then once it's accepted by the seniors, then the juniors will come in, and that will begin in Colombo with the introduction of a under-20s division. So I'd like to thank Mr. Kumar and Mr. O'Brien for their vision, and I'd also like to thank you gentlemen and Sri Lankan Rugby and Mr. President for being here this evening. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I must thank Dilip, John and Pat for selecting Sri Lanka for this to run the 11's competition after Thailand and Malaysia. First, I must tell you how it happened, how it came to Sri Lanka. So Dilip one fine Dilip gave me a call and said, Dilroy, I'm going to be in Sri Lanka soon. I need to have a chat with you. Then I wasn't too sure. I was not sure sure what he was going to talk to me about. I met Dilip 22 years ago for the first time. I've known Dilip, but then he came into Sri Lanka when we organized Isipatana International Rugby 7's tournament 2002, and that was he came down with Aboriginal team, New South Wales team, and it was a successful tournament 22 years ago. We had the tournament at CRMC ground, so I know Dilip, if he promises something, he delivers. So when he told me, Dilroy, I will definitely bring in a team, he brought in a team. We had teams from Fiji, Russia, Australia, UK, Dubai, and from Qatar in the Isipatana International Sevens tournament, which was 22 years ago. And Sri Lanka organized the next youth rugby tournament after 21 years last year, with the St. Peter's organizing the Centenary International Rugby Tournament. I don't know what the reason behind that is, but we need to organize more and more international tournaments. I've seen, as a referee, I've traveled and seen countries like even Thailand, Malaysia organizing international tournaments, but for some reason we didn't. So I think it's time, with the support of gentlemen John, Pat and Kumar, we need to try and give exposure to our youth. Our youth need to be participating in this type of tournaments. Our referees will have an opportunity, and end of the day, spectators will be able to see international rugby. It's sad that last 3 to 4 years we never had international rugby in Sri Lanka, except for the CRNFC 7's tournament and the privately organized St. Peter's 7's tournament. So this type of tournament, I'm sure, will attract crowds to come back to the tournament to watch rugby football. Because if you take A Division Club Rugby last weekend, CRH's match, I think there were only about 400 spectators at the ground. So we need to look at how we are going to market, how we are going to bring in crowds back. If you take Bradley Shield, still it draws 14,000, 15,000 spectators. If you take St. Peter's, Isipatana, easily 7,000-8,000 people watch the game. We have to see, as the rugby union, I'm sure President Nalini Silla will look at how we are going to, we need to change the systems, or we need to attract, how are we going to attract crowds to watch Sri Lanka club rugby games? Because the days are gone where, CIHs would 8 to 10,000 people watching, because last weekend's game, we timed it, the ball in play was less than 10 minutes each half. Less than 10 minutes. A 40 minutes game, you think people would want to go and watch a game? The playing time is only 10 minutes? No. So 11's rugby, with the new laws, World Rugby has introduced 30 seconds conversion, the scrum and the lineouts, which we are going to implement. Also more space, and also the advantage will be 2 passes, no mauls will be allowed, and bridging also, right? Yes. So at the breakdown, you see here, what happens is you go and bridge, and then a couple of seconds, maybe sometimes 30 seconds to a minute and a half, the ball is still inside. So here, no bridging will be allowed. So it will be quick ball at the breakdown, fast and open rugby. I'm sure our spectators, our crowds will definitely like this type of game. So when we had a look at a couple of venues, and then everybody feels that Racecourse Stadium would be the venue for 11's tournament. So Colombo International Rugby 11's tournament, the dates have been set for 27, 28, 29th of September at the Racecourse International Stadium. So up to now, we've been fortunate, we've had a number of the sponsors coming on board. We have spoken to a few others who have confirmed that they will definitely get back to us within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So up to now, we are thankful to Dibul Estate, Whitesmith, George Stewart's Holidays, Rhino Rugby Ball, American Water, the Papare, ES101, Hell Energy Drink, Frosty Ice. They've all already confirmed their participation as sponsor for this tournament. The rest of the sponsors, I'm sure, will definitely be with us within the next couple of weeks or month, which will definitely help us to make this tournament a success, which is going to be part of history of Sri Lanka rugby. I must also thank the members of the print and electronic media. They've been supportive of the tournaments whenever we organize. So we have a number of senior journalists who were reporting when I was playing club rugby was here. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen from the print and electronic media, for all your support in the past, and we look forward to your support to make this tournament a success. Give support to our sponsors. They need something in return for the money that they are putting. So we need to, if you support rugby football like we do, you need to support them and take the message across. We need to have numbers at the stadium. Thank you very much, CRNFC staff, Arosh and Nayanar, for making all the arrangements. Group Captain Nalini Silva, big thank you to you, sir, for being here. And also we have got the blessings of Sri Lanka Rugby, Sri Lanka Schools Rugby, and also we have spoken to the Ministry of Sports, and they have agreed to endorse the tournament. So we have got the support from the stakeholders, the governing body of the National Rugby and Schools Rugby. We'll also be seeking approval from the Ministry of Education since under 20 teams are playing. So the tournament format, I'm not going to be running into the details of the rules because since John has already touched it. So it will be 12 school teams, not school, under 20 teams, 6 local and 6 overseas teams we are targeting. Under 20 and women's, we only have 4 clubs in Sri Lanka. So we are inviting 4 more from overseas, so 8 clubs. We're playing in the women's section. And men's clubs, 12 teams, 6 overseas and 6 local. We've also got a veterans team, Puffins from Sri Lanka, so we'll be inviting 5 overseas teams. And so there will be 6 veterans teams. Altogether, 38 teams will be participating in the tournament on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Friday, we're hoping to have the veterans and the under 20 games. Saturday, the men's and women's open club competition, and Sunday all the quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals. Each day we'll have 26 games, so altogether there will be 78 games will be played over a period of 3 days. The segments will be cup plate bowl after the league round. The teams will be seeded and they'll be playing for the either cup championship plate or the bowl championship. Looking at player welfare and safety, we are responsible for the safety of the players as people who are running the sport, also Sri Lanka Rugby. So player welfare, the qualified medical practitioners, also qualified rugby qualified doctors will be in attendance with their medical staff, and we are seeking support from 2 hospitals to the medical facility. The referees also will be from overseas and local referees, also qualified match officials. And we are also thinking of spectator interest. So there will be carnival atmosphere at racecourse grounds. There will be food stalls, beer stalls for the parents and the elderly people and not for the youth. And also beverage. And then there will be kiddies corners, the face painting. So we'll be catering to the entire family, not only the rugby players and people are coming to watch the game. So it will be carnival atmosphere, and from 5 o'clock till midnight on Friday and Saturday there will be after party happening at the race course. We are discussing with the company to help us taking the after party forward. Also the facilities at the race course, so we have had a look at it, so there will be enough sufficient washroom facilities for the spectators. Apart from the teams, for the teams there will be ice bath, medical and also gala dinner for the entire teams, and also for the match officials and the officials and sponsors, which will be on Sunday at a different venue, the after party. I must also take this opportunity to thank the people who have been helping us, the volunteers and also the tournament staff. Thank you very much. And I'm sure with the support from these 3 gentlemen and also from the local rugby fraternity, from the Sri Lanka Rugby, Sri Lanka Schools Rugby, and the clubs and the schools, plus the volunteers and the referees and the medical staff, I'm sure this tournament will be a huge success. And we're looking at taking this type of tournament forward for the benefit and the benefit of Sri Lanka Rugby. Thank you very much. The entrance will be free of charge on the open side, and only in the pavilion will be charging a ticket. So only grandstand will be charging a ticket, but otherwise it will be free entrance to all the school children, and we are not going to be. That's part of the promotion of the game.
To play 11's last game, how the coaches gentlemen have in this regard?
The thing we've noticed about rugby players is they're very adaptable. So when it comes to this, like I mentioned earlier, I think the main people in the team that are getting really excited by this is the forwards, because it brings them more into the game. And like I said earlier, that the response from all the players, whether it's been the youth teams, the ladies, or the men's, and especially the vets, has been so positive, and even the referees are getting excited by this. So when the referees get excited, you can guarantee we're on the right track.
Already excited. Yeah. I said I'm already excited.
Yeah.